Well, this is a very interesting one. So clearly, we know where it's going to happen. Now, I haven't heard anyone confidently say that we can, for instance, win against England. Um, could you just try to guess why, Coach? I haven't heard anybody say that would win a game against England, but why not? That's the question I'm asking myself, Coach Prosper.
I think I think we can win against England. If you look at the style of play, it's just recently that England is trying to engage itself in some sort of a passing game model when it comes to playing at that level. We all know England to be playing direct football. They try to connect 1-2 passes and then play the ball behind the defense. And then they have the speedsters, and then they can just run, bring in the crosses, and then they connect. If you look at the caliber of players they have in the middle of the park, Foden and the rest, I'm sure we all know them. All that we have to do is to try to track them, make sure that they don't have that time and space on the ball to play the ball behind our defense. And to me, if we are able to do that, I don't think we'll have any problem playing with England. We fortunately have been watching them. Some of our players also played there. Partey has played there before. He played for Arsenal. Kudus is there. We have Antoine. I mean, these players all play there, and they know them. They know the mentality of the English players. So in the dressing room or in camp, they can easily tell the other colleagues who do not ply their trade in the Premiership what the opponents are likely to bring on board. They can easily tell the coach and the backroom staff that this is going to be their character, this is going to be their temperament, this is how they are going to behave. And I think once we are able to cut them short in the middle of the park, it's a done deal. So to me, we can win against England. We have quality players from defense through the middle of the park, muffled to offense in attack. We have the quality. We have the men on whom on a very good day can give us the victory, can give us a smile, can raise the flag of Ghana above the English. So to me, as a coach, and I'm not speaking because I'm a Ghanaian, I saw the Black Stars play the last time, and to me, you can see some synergy of effort, some synergy of unity, some synergy of selflessness. You see that everybody's ready to work for each other. And once you see these indicators in place in a team, it means that there's that team bonding. Remember, talent win games, teamwork wins championship. Again, too, we have a very good defensive setup. If you want to go far in tournaments, you need to be defensively astute. You need to have a strong defense. And to me, we have that. And if we are able to regrouping here means that if all the players who will be invited are able to respond to the time they are supposed to report in camp, if they are able to regroup early in camp, I'm sure with 2 weeks or more, these players can play together as a team. They can think on a common line, they can believe on a common line, and they can act on a common line. So playing against England, to me, shouldn't be a worry for Ghanaians. It's all about the players having the temperament and the character to be able to do that. And I think that with the few players who play in the Premiership, I'm sure they will be able to carry the information across to their teammates, the technical staff, and will be good to go.
Well, interesting thoughts coming from Coach Prosper Nate-Ogum, the head coach of Ghana's under-17 football team, the Black Starlets, on whether or not Ghana can overcome England in particular, since it seems to be drawing a lot of attention for very obvious reasons. Now, our coach has made mention of some very key elements, which I would want Coach Osman to elaborate on. Now, he's talked about departments of the game, and he believes that we have individual strengths that are required to have that cohesive unit. Now, then it begs the question. These two names that I've mentioned, the Callum Hudson-Odoi and the like, is it necessary? Would it be necessary to bring them on board, for instance, if that consideration was made? And what would be the reason for your stance, Coach?
This is a very difficult question, but we will try not to be passionate about it and be objective. But before I do that, I would like to just say something about what my senior colleague said, concluding that people are thinking Ghana is not one of the best in the four in our Group L, but he believes Ghana is actually the best. I totally have a different opinion, and in terms of facts, currently when we are talking about the best strikers in the world, you can mention Mbappe, you can mention Kane from England, then you can mention Haaland. Kane is from England. He's playing for England. I mean, in the group, I mean, tactically, they are even ahead of us in terms of the experience and the facilities they have to train. Mm-hmm. But that is not to say Ghana cannot survive. I strongly believe that Ghana would go beyond the group stage with a group that we've been exposed to. But I think Ghana is not the best in the group. I mean, when you are talking about facts and ranking. Now, for the players that you spoke about, Nats, I strongly believe that we should not be passionate about this. We should try as much as we can to look at what would be the best for Ghana. So we go department by department. What do we currently have? Yeah. And in any situation, if we're able to add another player, another controversial, I'm using the word controversial because you cannot just come in after we've done all the dirty work and you expect to be added to the team. For me, it doesn't make sense personally, but it's not about me, it's about the country. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying that we should not be passionate about it. So if there is there is actually a need for that particular player in that particular department, after the analysis, I see no reason why we should not include the player. It is not compulsory for Ghana to say, come and play for us the time that we want. You also have some liberty to say, I'm ready now. Mm-hmm. It's up to Ghana to decide whether we want them or we don't need them. Right. But not, if you want to do this tactically, then I will tell you that we need a little bit of time, because our scouting should start from now. Yet, I mean, today we should start building up the scouting department that are going to be looking at the Panama. They're going to be looking at Croatia. So, based on the strength of Croatia and then based on the weakness that we have in our teams, that would then highlight. It's not automatic. It's not from your head, but it's more of scientific. Based on their strength and our weakness, that would then highlight what you need to mitigate whatever challenge you have. In the process of the mitigation, if there is a need for you to add another player that had not played the World Cup, but that player will solve your problem for you, so be it. It's not about our passion. It's not about us being passionate or us being emotional. It's about solving the problem in Ghana, getting the result and win. We need to progress to the
So for those on the other side of the conversation, Daniel, I want you to take this one. Those on the other side of the conversation who talk about other elements of team play, which also has to do with camaraderie, has to do with having people being friends and then translating it onto performance on the pitch and all of these, they say that these kinds of things or these kinds of decisions affect them. And we have a typical case of Kevin Prince Boateng. I always keep telling everyone when I'm asked this question, I have a member of at least two players within the Brazil 2014 squad who said to me that they were not pleased about Kevin Prince Boateng and how he decided to come in on the last day, score a goal and slip his way into the team. And,
Yeah, I can understand why certain people will feel a certain type of way because of the hard work others have put in. But you and I have been in this business long enough to know that at this level, like Coach said, it's about the greater interest of the country. You have to assemble your squad, look at what's going to happen between now and when the World Cup starts. Some of your best players may even get injured, touch wood. And if at that material moment, some of these considered outsiders can solve a problem, then they can solve a problem. I think the coach has laid the foundation very clearly. The coach, after we qualified, said that it was going to be based on individual basis, that there are some players that even didn't return the calls of the GFA or the coach or the coaching staff. These players are going to be treated differently from those who we never approached or made a genuine excuse as to why they could not make the transition at that time. So the coach has laid the foundation, and I believe that that's the right way to approach it. That if you didn't return our calls it doesn't matter how good you are, because that's plain disrespectful. Don't forget that there are senior players in this Black Stars squad. And like you mentioned, if bringing them is going to create a lot of disunity in the team, then why do you have them? A typical case was what happened in France many years ago, when some of the figures were against the inclusion of certain players in the squad, because it brings disunity in the squad. So I think that with the benefit of hindsight, the Coach Otto himself, not having been born in Ghana, having grown up in Germany and later coming to represent Ghana, would have a better appreciation of the fact on the table. And he's not going to take this decision alone. He's going to take this decision together with the top brass of the GFA. He's going to take this decision together with certain senior members of the Black Stars squad. Let's not hide the fact that some big players and big egos in the team would have a say. Players like Jordan Ayew need to be consulted, because at this juncture he's become a very important and senior player in the squad, and he would have a say in whether or not these players should be integrated into the squad. I'm happy to see the likes of Asamoah Gyan still around the team, Stephen Appiah still around the team. They have a fair appreciation of what these things are like.
Yeah,
Stephen
these
Appiah
dynamics. Yeah.
is very, very experienced and is still around with the team. He knows what happened in 2010 in South Africa. He knows what happened in Brazil 2014, even though he was not a member of the playing squad. So between now and then, depending on what happens with some of our key players, we'll have to take that bold decision. But like Coach said, we have to take this decision dispassionately, without a lot of emotions, but with a level-headedness that asks the question, will these players solve a certain problem that we have? If they do, then let's sit around the table and jaw and see how they fit in. Because even when they come in, there must be a certain orientation and a certain onboarding process for them to be able to deliver. Inaki has been playing for the Black Stars, and he's struggled to figure his way out, even though when he goes to his club side, performs admirably. I'm not saying that every player will be in that situation, but if people don't bond with the player, it becomes difficult, and the reason why you bring them is not achieved. How many games are we going to play at the World Cup? 3 group games. You go into maybe the round of 16, give or take 7 or 8 matches at most, and that's even if you reach the very latter stages of the competition. What if they don't play a game for the Black Stars, and by their inclusion, it destroys the unity of this team? Don't forget, even in the Black Stars, some players are playing their last World Cup. And certain players will be playing their last World Cup as we go into this next year's World Cup. They want to go out and deliver on their last tournament or last assignment for the Black Stars. So it's going to be a very comprehensive decision, but I agree, let's not take this decision with a lot of emotions.
Well, I don't know what your thoughts are. Let's get your thoughts also on 055-11-11997, 055-11-11997. Here in the studio, Nathaniel Attoh and Coach Osman Saidu, and then also joining us virtually from London and from parts of Ghana, Coach Prosper Nathaniel Attoh. He is the head coach of Ghana's under-17 team, the Black Starlets, and also Kwadwo Jim, a passionate man who's also a scout and in the heart of London. We will now get into your thoughts, some of the messages that are on our WhatsApp console. Let's quickly get into some of them here and see what you also make of the conversation about Ghana's group. And then after that, we'll get into the other groups and the other factors that will make a Super World Cup. Now, there's this lengthy one. I'll try my best to run through it very quickly. This from Prosper Domenyo in Dakuman, Accra. He says, "Good day, Nathaniel, and your wonderful guest on the show. I think Ghana is very fortunate to find herself in the same group as Croatia, Panama, and England. With a proper preparation and psychological readiness, we should easily sail through this group, which doesn't look too difficult. What we need now is to get serious with scouting in order to get on board the very best so we can have a good bench. And as for our first 11, it should even be better. Now, as of now, if any of our dependable players get injured before the World Cup tournament, we shall find ourselves in deep waters. The argument of allowing only patriotic and committed players to join the team is a fraud argument because patriotism and commitment without results is useless. And so what we need is players who can give us good results and boost the nation's pride. Go Black Stars, go." All right. Thank you very much, Prosper Domenyo, with that message there. Okay, let me do a few more, and then after that, I'll go to Kwadwo Jim in London to ask me to ask him about what kind of preparation he would want to see the Black Stars have ahead of this tournament. We've got clearly, some 6 months to go. So 6 months? Well, yeah, better part of 6 months to go. Now, there's this other one from ED or Ed in Accra. The problem is playing England. The problem with playing England is that our defense is too slow. Okay, Ed, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that message over there. Well, so we're expecting some more. We'll be sharing with you as we go along. Remember, it's 055-1111-997. Now, Passionate Man, I want you to tell me about preparation and what kind of ideal preparation you want to see the Black Stars have in this. And I'll throw the same question as well to Coach Prosper Nathaniel. He is in that space and he knows what exactly we should be doing. In addition to the scouting, what kinds of games would you want to see Ghana play when it comes to these FIFA friendly days and all that?
Okay, so Nat, I just want to take it from a bit of an English perspective and then back into the Ghana perspective. I think that for England, it's always been the idea that in the last 10 years, we've had a few players from here move outside the Premier League. And so, they've kind of developed their game, and then gradually they're beginning to affect the games in different aspects, where before they used to play more, quick football, just run, and then direct football. Now gradually we're beginning to have technical players coming here back into England and influencing games, in a very technical way, rather than more just purely down to tactics. So England will always come with that particular type of game. But for us as Ghanaians, I think where we should always look at it is we should impose our game on England. England struggles against any team in this world that imposes their game. If we try to play their game, direct football, try to play exactly how they play. That's why I debunk the argument of the fact that we have our players playing here and so we'll be able to match them. Yes, physically. But if we have to get good results against England, we would have to impose our game. How do we impose our game? Slow the game down, move into triangles, quick short passes, and then we use the channels when we have to. This is how England gets exposed. When they play against Spain or Portugal or any technical team, they struggle because they don't normally have all the 11 players technical. So we should start our game in this particular way. And then once we do that, we'll be able to, have a decent result, or even beat England in that, for that matter. But we shouldn't match their energy by running with them, because they are built for this. This is their game. This is their plan, to run through the channels. They take one player off, substitute, and bring another one just to do the same work. Efficiency is what the English team has always been like. Do the work and do it to the best of your ability. So if for us Ghanaians impose our type of samba, like Kubolo style of football, they struggle with things like that. Slow the game down. 1-2 passes. Don't be in a quick rush to run. No. Once we're able to put the game to bed in that particular manner, tactically, England will be in our pockets. Also, another thing we should be looking at going forward is when we play England, we should always make sure that we don't overdo ourselves, because sometimes when you come against these teams, you can outdo yourself and you want to play a strained tactics. Let's just stick to the basics. Play the ball. If we're playing through the midfield, that's where our strength is. Let's open them through the midfield and then pick the right passes, make the right decisions. Once we do these little things throughout the 90 minutes with focus, with commitment and determination, that's where the results come. Also, we're talking about the likes of probably the other players that play here, coming back into the team. I honestly, I have a different opinion. I have a different idea, because I don't think the players we're talking about that match, would make a huge impact on the team. Let's not think that when players play in the Premier League, they are better than players that play in the Bundesliga or play in other teams. It depends on the style of team, the style that Ghana decides to play. Because currently we have probably one of the best forwards in the league now, which is Semenyo. And I don't think the players we're talking about are better than Semenyo or better than Kudus. So we have a very good team. What we need to do now is to be able to find, if this player is not there, if he's got a card, if he's injured, how do we still get the rhythm of the team going, which is very important, because you need to set a style and you need to stick to the style. Of course, different players come with different tactics and different movement, but in all, we should be able to arrive at the point where we'll be able to get to that particular point where the team plays what the coach wants to do. I don't think these players we're talking about here are massive. Nketiah struggles to get into the Crystal Palace team, and Odoi this season has been on and off. I don't think Odoi is going to add massively much of an importance to this team to that level where he should be in the team. That is a talking point that we are all talking about this. I just think that they are equally important players in this team. If Coach Otuado brings in one or two players that can also emphasize on the style, because the style is very important. Now, finally, I'd like to also touch on a few bits. Let's not forget, when you bring these players in, we as Ghana are not just going there to play football. We are going to sell our tradition. We are going to sell harmony. We are going to sell peace. We are going to sell who we are as Ghanaians. The last thing we don't want is the episode that happened in Brazil in 2014. We don't want that episode. And so for me going forward, I think this team is a good team. Let's look out for one or two players that can enforce and join this team. But let's not assume that those boys here, they are the ones that will take Ghana across the line. I don't believe so. I don't think they are that much of great players to really take us there. None of them are better than Semenyo. None of them are better than Inaki Williams. None of them are better than Kudus. So player to player, I don't see that happening.
Well, we're expecting your thoughts as well. Those are the thoughts of Passionate Man there in London. Let's also take the thoughts of Coach Prosper Nathaniel. I want to specifically ask about the kinds of friendly matches he expects us to play. If, for instance, he also has some specific nations that he wants to see us play before the World Cup, I'll be glad that he shares with us. But before that, there's this message from John Bambio. John Bambio is my former senior. I mean, he's always will be my senior. My house prefect back in school. John Bambio of the Energy Commission. Now, he sends this message. He says, Nat, this draw is not good for Ghana. Ghana is likely to exit if we keep playing badly, as we have all noticed in previous games. Now, I'm not convinced that we have the men. The team lacks quality. I do not have hope in this team advancing. I can only pray. Okay, well, thank you very much for your thoughts. Let me do this quick one before Coach Ogum brings in his thoughts. Now, Yawadi says, hello, Nat. The difference between Ghana and England on the field will be the bench of the two teams. Okay, interesting dimension. All right, Coach, please let us know what you believe would be the ideal kinds of preparatory games for this particular assignment.
Yeah, thank you, Nat. Before I go on, I think in my earlier submission, I think I made it clear that based on the positions of England, Croatia, and Panama, you might think that we are the weakest, but then we are not the weakest. We are one of the strongest in the group. So I think one of my colleagues in your studio said we are the strongest, we are the best. That was what actually I put up there. So it's subject to interpretation. We may not be the best, but we pair positions to, even though we are 72nd, to me we are not the weakest in the group. Yeah, thank you for that. I think Passionate Man has said a lot about what I wanted to say, so I'll add a few to it. I think to play England, to play Croatia, such teams, I think one of the things that will make players confident and mentally tough is to make sure that you provide them with a lot of positional information about opponents they are going to meet in their corridors, in their channels, what they do with the ball and without the ball. I think once this data is made available to the players, it will give them a clear picture of what they are to expect when they step out there on the field. So once the performance analysts, the video analysts, once they gather this information about each individual player of the opposing team vis-a-vis that of our own players, I'm sure the players will be confident to be able to play. So, for instance, you can talk about, let's say, one of our centre backs against Hurricane. With the ball, this is what he does. Without the ball, this is what he does. So maybe when the ball is in this corridor, when the ball is in this channel, this is what Kane is likely to do. So once these information are given to the player and is processed very well, it gives the player that confidence to be able to face Kane. So to me, we need to do that to be able to make sure that we position our players very confidently and mentally tough before the game. On the issue of, the addition of the players and what have you to me, like a passionate man said, the quality is already there. So, and then like my other colleagues also said, this is not about emotions, it's about the flag of Ghana. So if the coach and his technical team, they think that the other players who, when they are brought on board, will augment the team, then that's fine. The coach knows his players very well, and he knows how he wants them to play. So if there are other outlines, other players who are not within, but things that within this period up to the World Cup, they fit in, then that's the decision of the coach. All that Ghanaians want is to assemble the best of players out there to defend the flag of Ghana. So if you think that there's somebody out there who's better than Inaki, there's somebody out there who's better than Kudus, and that person can be brought in, that is good. I remember engaging Kwame Banu one day on players I had, and he told me something after my narrative. He said, Charlie, then you have a good problem. The reason why he said I have a good problem is that I told him I have players, a lot of players in that position. And sometimes it becomes difficult to select who to play. So he said that is a good problem. So if there are other players there who are better than the Kudus, the Nakis, the Jordans, and can be brought on board, then that is a good problem for the coach. Because like one of the messages you read on social media, that we need depth in the team. There should be quality on the bench, so that whoever goes out, when somebody is coming in, that person it should be able to equate that performance or even move ahead of where the person left off. So if such players are available, to me, I don't think that we should deny them the opportunity. But then, like he also said again, we have to look at the cultural dynamics. It's not just about coming to play because we are going to the World Cup. They should be able to integrate very well into their team in terms of the culture, in terms of the style of play, everything, and then we'll be good to go. To me, our preparations, we need to try and assemble very early the cool things that would be ready, or he will assemble for the World Cup. He needs to invite them as quickly as possible when the time is getting closer. Try to engage them a lot on phone. He needs to engage them a lot. Once he's able to do that, I think he will prepare them mentally before they arrive. And then when they arrive, I think as far as tactics is concerned, they should just settle into what they want to do based on each opponent that they are going to play. And I'm sure they are good at that. They will be able to do that. When it comes to matches that we have to play, we need to look at the countries we are going to play, and then look at countries that play in similar ways. I don't want to say same ways. Countries that play in similar ways, so that they can stretch us. The conditions will mimic what we are likely to face when we play such countries. So it's up to the technical staff to sit down and look at countries that have styles of play that are similar to England, Croatia, and Panama, and then as quickly as possible, we'll arrange for those games and then play them. Once we play them, we'll be able to get to know where we need to work on, where we need to consolidate, where we need to correct. All those things will come to bear. So to me, this is my opinion when it comes to us trying to get a team ready for our first game.
Amazing. Coach Prosper Nathaniel Attoh there. Let's now quickly take a look at some of the the groups. So Group A to L. Let's talk about the opening fixture for this competition. The opening fixture is always very important. It's one that draws a lot of global viewership on the day. That's the only game that will be played after the opening ceremony, and so everybody would focus. I mean, if you want a World Cup game to watch, you'd have to watch the opening game only, and that is Mexico versus South Africa. We saw that fixture some years ago, and it's being repeated here. South Africa, the Bafana have a very huge task, isn't it, Daniel?
Yes, they do, but they will take pride and confidence on the fact that the last time they met, also in the World Cup opener, they didn't lose that game. They managed a 1-1 draw, so that should give them some.
And that Shabalala goal.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And saw the stadium bouncing. I think they will take pride in it, and they themselves, almost missed out on the tournament base because of their own poor decision making and disorganization. But they would take pride in the fact that they've done it before and they will be able to do it again. I'm really hoping that the African presence this time around would make a better impression. South Africa are not necessarily one of the big boys when it comes to the World Cup. Usually the West African contingent have done better until Morocco did it, the semi-final in Qatar, which was quite impressive. So the North Africans are also very experienced in this. But I believe that South Africa, if they get a very good result in the opening game, that group is very manageable. At some point I was hoping that we'll get Group B, but that's for another discussion. I think that if they get a good result against Mexico, they should be good, but it will be a very difficult game, especially because Mexico are playing at home, and like we've all admitted, Mexico is a very powerful football nation, very passionate. They would fill the stadium, and the South Africans must try and cope with that. They had that benefit when they hosted the tournament,
and the vuvuzelas.
Exactly. So the repeat will be the opening fixture of this game, and the Mexicans will turn up in their numbers, and they are very passionate, very aggressive, very physical. So South Africa would hope that at least a draw would be a very fair result for them.
We'll go to Group B in a bit. Let me share some messages. This is Ni Tojo in Tema, Newtown. Can Coach Attoh win against Panama, Croatia, and England? Whatever happens, Ghana is to make a memorable and wonderful event. Ni Tojo, Oyewaladon. Now, there's another one here from, another one here. Let me just quickly bring that out, and then we can get more thoughts. Good afternoon to you, Nathaniel. I think this group is soft to accelerate the Black Stars to progress to the next stage. Wow, okay. He says that is soft. Please sign your message the next time you send it. No name to this. All right, thank you very much for that message. All right, so there are those who think it's a soft group. There are those who also think, well, we still don't have the men. Coach Osman, let's throw the focus on the second group, Group B. You have a Canada there. You have Qatar, the last host of the World Cup, and then good old Switzerland. That could be interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely interesting. Qatar will be coming into this World Cup with their experience of hosting and less of a burden, because this time around their concentration is really going to be on performance. I think there will be a lot of surprises in this World Cup, like we usually have. But this one is going to be so special because this is a World Cup that everybody knows what goes on in US, what goes on in Canada and Mexico. So for me, everybody would be more interested in showcasing what they have in their countries or what talents they will definitely be getting. But I think Qatar is a team to watch in that particular group, and I think they would be able to qualify.
Okay, passionate man.
Should be able to qualify.
Super. Passionate man, let's quickly take a look at Group C, which has Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, Wycliffe Jean's Haiti, and Scotland. And then after that, I would have Coach Ogum talk about the USA, Paraguay, Australia, and one playoff spotter. So that's in Group D. Would have Coach Prosper take that up. Okay, so Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. Brazil will always get you to turn a neck because they're the most successful side on this stage.
Morocco doing so well, and Morocco are nearly almost as a perfect team in transition, movement, off the ball, tactical, aggressiveness. They have all of it. Brazil more technical, more aggression, and a bit of now, because a lot of their players in Europe now, they're beginning to play more counter pressing as well. Infuse that into the game. So I think Brazil Morocco will be a good game. Of course, Haiti, they'll be the whipping boys of the side. They're not too much of a strong side. They will be there. But remember, there are a lot of Haitians in America, and I think this tournament, any South American team will have a lot of support. So all the groups of the South American teams there will be a lot of support. You look at the Mexicans; they'll be traveling down from Texas upwards to support your team and all that. So Brazil, they're going to have a lot of support. So I think Brazil, Morocco out of that group.
Okay. Let's go to Coach Ogum now. USA, Paraguay, Australia in Group D. Yes, Coach Ogum. Yeah. I just wanted you to give us what your thoughts are on Group D, which is USA, Paraguay, Australia, and of course one more spot, which will be the playoff C.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting group if you look at the fact that the USA, they are more athletic, they are more direct. They try to use the spaces a lot behind the defense, so they try to go more direct. If you look at Paraguay, they go into more of a passing game, trying to keep possession in a gradual process from the test. Australia has a blend of the two. If you look at their performances so far, I think I'll go for the USA and Paraguay. But then we have to be careful about Australia. They can pull a surprise from that group.
Well, very well. And of course, playoff C has the likes of Slovakia and Turkey in there. Let's see who is able to make it out of that group. Let's talk about Group E now, and Coach Osman will take that. Group E has Germany, who are 2014 winners of the competition. I remember very well when, Germany had to win the Italy competition in 1990, and they beat Maradona. At the time, I was such a big fan of Argentina, So Germany there, the debutants Curaçao, and of course, African champions Cote d'Ivoire, and then Ecuador.
Absolutely. I would definitely tip Germany and Ivory Coast here. My reason is that for Germany, it is a requirement for them to go beyond the group stage. It is not negotiable. It is a requirement by their standard to go beyond the group stage. Ivory Coast, because lately they've also been playing some fantastic football. We look at their performance in the last African Cup of Nations, and then some other qualification matches they've had to play. So for me, I'm very convinced that it's going to be Germany and Ivory Coast.
Germany and Ivory Coast. And then you have the Samurai of Japan. You have the Netherlands, who sometimes get close to it. Sometimes will give you a very talented side, but we will not be able to win it. And then you have Tunisia. And, of course, a playoff which has the potential of Albania, Poland, Sweden, and Ukraine possibly making it.
One of the toughest groups, I believe. Netherlands, like you've mentioned, this is not one of their greatest squads. They sometimes would come up with a generation that has a very, very good, array of players or stars. But this is not one of them. Nonetheless, you need to appreciate the fact that they also went unbeaten in the qualifiers to qualify for this tournament. And then Japan, who are making their 8th successive, qualification to the World Cup. So they are not pushovers themselves. And then you have Tunisia. Tunisia have not necessarily been a bright spot when it comes to the World Cup. And like I mentioned, the North Africans, bar maybe Morocco, Egypt, who are very experienced, are not very good, if you like. They are not very good at the World Cup. The West African contingents usually would do way better than them. So it's a group that I feel Japan will get out of, and then it's a battle between Tunisia and Netherlands, and also depending on whether Sweden will qualify or Ukraine in that other playoffs. I suspect Sweden will likely be the other qualifier or the other country to qualify in that group. So very tricky group. I tip Netherlands and Japan to progress to the next stage of the competition.
All right, so passionate man, let's go to Group G. Group G. Now, Group G has Belgium, it has Egypt, and it has the Islamic Republic of Iran and New Zealand as well. And after that, I would have Coach Ogum take care of the 2010 winners, Spain, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay for Group H. So let's begin with you, passionate man. Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand making up Group G.
I think Belgium, this is the last badge of the golden era, and they come across as a team that has enough quality. They can be very direct, they can be very dynamic when they want to, they're very robust as well. So I think Belgium, with a bit of experience, with a number of players that are aging at that level, coupled with some young players and mixed with the squad, the youthfulness, they should be able to progress through that group as well. Now then, the question comes between Egypt and New Zealand. New Zealand plays similar to Australia. Obviously, they're close. Sometimes they can play direct football. Sometimes they can slow the game down a bit. But one thing for sure is they are an efficient team. They play with efficiency. Egypt would have to be more stronger mentally to be able to get through, because I just think that you're going to face that same mentality with the New Zealanders. That's how these guys play. You know, they might not be a solid team, but mentally they're very tough. And so Egypt, they have to play more, be more solid mentally, and be able to also approach their tactics very carefully. So between Egypt and New Zealand is a very tough one. I think any of them can sneak through, but obviously Iran, I think not really too much of a strong team, but obviously they can give some tests to these boys.
All right, Coach Ogum, Spain, they won it in 2010, and you have Cape Verde, who, because of one or two results that they posted in the AFCON and all of that, may not necessarily be the minnows that, ordinarily they'll be described as. And then you have a Saudi Arabia. I'll never forget what they did to the Black Stars after, of course, eras have come and gone, what they did to the Black Stars after our participation in the 2006 World Cup. And then you have Uruguay. So Spain, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay making up Group H. Coach?
Yeah, I think I'll go for Spain and then Uruguay. If you look at, if records are anything to go by, and if current performances are also anything to go by, we all have seen Spain over the years. They are doing very well and still doing well. If you look at Uruguay too, the caliber of players they have now, very dynamic team, same like Spain, very dynamic. They have depth in the team, so the quality is there, the experience is there, the exposure is there. They've been there. Most of the players of these two countries have been there over the period. So when it comes to the temperament and the character, they know what it takes to deliver. If you look at Cape Verde, as you rightly said, they've chalked some surprises. There's one thing about football. Sometimes when somebody's overly written off, sometimes such teams come to pull surprises. If you look at Cape Verde, there's one thing I like about them, and probably I'm speaking as a coach. They play like a team. They don't have the starmanship thing there, that this person is the star man. They don't really rely on one person to get a team going. They play like a team from defense through midfield to attack. So if they're able to have that character at the world stage, if they're able to have that composure to play, I'm sure they will be able to announce their presence. Saudi Arabia, we all know what they did to Argentina at the last World Cup, and it tells you clearly that they have the exposure. But then if you look at the Spain and then Uruguay, I think that they have to advance to the next stage.
Okay, great stuff there. Getting towards the finish line of the show. Let's do some more, but before that, let's just quickly go through a few messages that we have here. This one says, I don't know why this kind of group or country that we find ourselves in should make us panic, because we should rather urge the players to overcome them. This is from Richard Aholu. Okay, Richard Aholu, thank you very much for that message. Another one here. Hello, Nat. I have a strong belief that the Black Stars will go far, watching how the team played in their last friendly match against South Korea without their key players. If we camp early enough and train hard, I see Ghana going beyond the semis. Panama is not going to be a walkover for Ghana. This is from Samuel Sector. Okay, Samuel Setoji. Okay, Samuel Setoji, thank you very much. I hope I pronounced the name right. Okay, now this is another one here. He says AFCON wouldn't have been perfect. An AFCON wouldn't have been a perfect test for the Black Stars tactics to justify your inclusion. But there we are. We didn't qualify. Part of being patriotic is speaking the truth, and the truth is agroniform. So let's see how the team is coached in the World Cup. We are watching. Thank you for that message as well. All right, so let's go on and wrap up with the groups as we wrap up this conversation here on the Joy Sports link on Joy 99.7 FM. Now we go to Group I, France, Senegal, and Norway, and potentially a final group member which will be made up of Iraq, Bolivia, or Suriname.
Another tricky group for an African contingent. Of course, the headline will be Kylian Mbappe and then Erling Haaland between France and Norway. But that will be the last group game. Before then, France would have to take on Senegal. And that will be very tricky because of the repeat of the 2002 World Cup opener where Senegal were able to shock France. I think France is by far one of the most blessed teams in this tournament. They've got unbelievable depth in their squad, and as runners up at the last edition, they would be hoping to do one better. They, for me, are one of the favorites to win this tournament. Senegal would also have to play above themselves. Norway played 100% in the qualifiers in terms of their qualification, and they scored over 30 goals to qualify for this tournament. What is assured is that this group is going to produce a lot of goals. With Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe in the squad, there's going to be an avalanche of goals in the games that they play. I think the fourth place team, looking at the playoffs and the teams involved, not so strong. Bolivia, Suriname, and then Iraq. So Senegal really have a chance, but on paper, on the face of it, you would think that this is a straight fight between France and Norway based on the quality of players that they have. But I think Senegal also do have a chance. They are one of the brightest African sides, very blessed with a lot of talents, because of their French connection and all of that. So this is going to be an interesting group. For me, one of the groups of death in this tournament.
Okay, first time I'm hearing group of death for this tournament. Let's talk about Group J and Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Okay, passionate man. Defending champions Argentina, Algeria, Austria, beg your pardon, and Jordan.
I think, of course, Argentina will go through that group. The quality, the in-depth, the squad they have, they should go through the group. Algeria, Austria, that is also a very tricky one because the Austrians, they also have a very, very strong mentality, like a never saying dying spirit, and they fight to the end. So I think I would put, I think Argentina, Austria might go through. If I'm not mistaken, I think Argentina, Austria might go through because of how the Austrians play. They're very effective as a team, and if care is not taken by Algeria, they will just sneak through. I think so.
Okay. All right, Coach Ogum, we have Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal in capital letters in Group K. So Portugal, Uzbekistan, and Colombia, and of course, the possibility of having a Jamaica and the likes join. Yes, Coach Ogum. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I think I'll go for Portugal and Colombia. But then for Portugal, I think they need to have absolute control of the Cristiano Ronaldo factor. You know, when a team uh, is being controlled by one person, I mean, the I factor. Once that takes center stage, then you are likely to have challenges. So once the coach is able to overcome that, they have the quality. I mean, in every department of the game, Portugal has the quality. For Colombia, I mean, they also have the players, they have the quality, they have the temperament, they have the character. So to me, Portugal and then Colombia should be able to make it in that group. Uzbekistan, fine. I mean, they also play. I've watched a few of their games. They play good, exciting football. But then I think Colombia and Portugal are ahead of them.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff there. Final thoughts in maybe 45 seconds each. Let me begin with you, Coach Ogum, since you are the one who did the last, submission. An expanded format that should be interesting, isn't it? In 45 seconds.
Very interesting. A lot of exciting games to watch. For about over a month, it's going to be very interesting. And if you look at the teams that have qualified, these are traditional world-known teams with quality players. For me, what I'm praying or hoping, what I'm hoping will happen is that all these players will be fit. All the players we know in the top major leagues, they will all be fit. They will all be available to be selected to play. And I'm sure we'll have an exciting World Cup. Even though the format is going to be different, more games, is going to, sap their energy. If you look at even the season, how the season is going to be, if you look at the UEFA Champions League, everything, more matches to be played. And then right after that, they are going to the World Cup. They will be tied over. I think we are going to have an exciting World Cup.
All right. Passionate man, your final thoughts in 45 seconds.
I think it's going to be a wonderful World Cup. World Cup with a lot of South Americans is always exciting because you can match the two teams to each other very closely. Because it's not a done deal that, for example, Argentina can be Uruguay or Argentina can be Brazil or Brazil can be Colombia. It's very tight. So we want that type of matches right from the onset, and then we'll see how the tournament progresses. But then on the Ghana perspective as well, I think that we need to prepare well. It's a blessing in disguise that we're not even going to the AFCON, because looking at the season, they will have to come to AFCON, come back to their leagues, complete the league in the Champions League, and then they go back to the World Cup. Fatigue might set in on these few players that we do have. So I just think that since we're not going to the AFCON, we have to be very strategic. Please again, let's select the right players. Let's put the right players in the right positions, and then let's conscientize them. Let's work towards it. Preparation needs to go into this. Let's work as a team. And then once we work as a team, I'm sure by the end of the tournament, Ghana will be hoisting their flag very, very high.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's come to you, Daniel, for your final thoughts.
Well, Nats, I think for me, the advice to the GFA is that they need to recognize that this tournament will be happening in the summer. The conditions during the Club World Cup suggest that it is going to be very, very warm in America during that time of the year. What it means is that when we're doing our preparations, where we're going to camp, and the fact that these players are not necessarily born, a lot of them were not born in Ghana, will not have that advantage. If they were born in Ghana, they probably would have that advantage. So in terms of where we're going to camp ahead of the World Cup, we should be able to consider all of that. And like some of coach said, select the right players, hope that the players are in the right frame of mind before the tournament, and I think we should be able to get out of the group.
To those wishing the best for the World Cup, we should ask ourselves how much our country has invested in football compared to the less resourceful Croatia. Our achievements will be based on how much comparatively we've invested with Croatia and the UK. I mean, the Black Stars investment. Nat, we need to qualify by beating Panama with a solid defense. The coach should use Kudus and Williams to convert our chances. Partey should control the midfield very well. With tactical flexibility, we can camp them early, manage their fitness, seize knockout opportunities. We will surely reach the finals and win. In Cabo Mebusuya sense that one. And on that note, we say thank you to all of you. Thanks to Nathaniel Attoh, Coach Prosper Ogum, Coach Osman Seidu, and Passionate Man, aka Coach Kwejua J. Jima from the UK. It's been wonderful sharing your company this afternoon. But before we go, happy 70th birthday once again to the board chairman of Ghana Gas, the Honorable Kofi Totobi Kwache. Yeah. Apsu Kofi Totobi Kwache. This is from all of the Apsunians all over the globe. Big salutes to you, sir. Mr. Kofi Totobi Kwache, board chairman of Ghana Gas, on your 70th milestone. Hey, Charlie Daniel Odro, 70 years. No be joke. Big salutes to all of you. Of course, Kwame Dazi and the rest of the team will be joining us this afternoon. Charlie Unya,
Yo, Rasta, where are you going?
Hey,
you feeling irie?
Yeah, man, Charlie. Kwame Dazi is in the spirit.
No, your tune, you drop. You feeling irie?
Greetings, my guy. Charlie, what's up, man? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
Yeah. And of course, this afternoon, it's going to be very interesting, isn't it?
Yes, we're talking about
solid
December
cast.
in GH, yes, and how we can use our events to shape the image of Ghana. So that's the conversation we have this afternoon. We have our man, Jod Bosompim, coming through. We have Latif Abubakar also coming.
Yeah.
Francis Doku is on as well. Our own Uncle Ken.
Yeah, Uncle
Also,
Ken Adi.
yeah, also represented.
The ever-present Uncle Ken
Yeah, and
Adi.
I know this is the best
Yeah. Charlie,
radio entertainment program of the year.
Thank you. Did I announce? I announced
You
that,
did
right?
it. Your
Thank
voice
you.
is there.
Thank you.
So now you know we play your voice before we start the show.
Charlie, that is right. You see, so that has given you 15 more
I
years
tell you.
in life, in addition to
No,
life.
I tell you.
Charlie, when you
I
play
tell
my
you.
voice before you start your show, it's blessing you, Charlie.
Charlie, if you so no.
Yeah, man. So the award-winning show is coming off in a bit. So you enjoy. Kwame Dazi and the rest of the team take over from now. Have a wonderful Saturday listening to us and being along with us on this journey all the way up to 6 p.m. and beyond. I'll be back, God willing, next weekend to bring you another Joy Sports Link. In the meantime, keep it here. You stay well. Enjoy yourselves. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I have love for sport.